Welcome to Fun and Fundraising, everybody, the podcast where we talk with people behind top nonprofit galas and signature fundraising events to showcase how they positively transform their communities. I'm your host, Rob Giardinelli, and today I'm thrilled to have two really fun guests on. So we have Sheroo Mukhitar, who is the CEO, and Maria Magee, who is the Chief Development Officer of the Interfaith Ministries of Greater Houston. And people have heard me say on this show that a great event reflects the tapestry of the community that they serve. And we are so fortunate today that we literally they host a gala called the Tapestry Gala. So I'm really excited to hear along with you all, the dynamics behind it and what makes it a really great event and one of the top fundraising events in Houston. So with that, Sheroo, Maria, welcome. And I'm so thrilled to have you both on as guests today.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you for having us.
Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Absolutely. So, Sheroo, I'll start with the first question with you. Could you explain what the mission of the Interfaith Ministries of Greater Houston is?
Sure, absolutely. Thank you, Rob. Interfaith Ministries for Greater Houston is now called I Am Houston. Our board went through an extensive rebranding process that began about 2 years ago to ensure that we were truly reflecting who we are and what our mission is. So, to that end, I Am Houston brings people of diverse faith traditions together for dialogue, collaboration, and service as a demonstration of our shared beliefs. And just to expand on that a little more, we were founded on the premise of interfaith beliefs around feeding the hungry, welcoming the stranger, respecting thy neighbor through good deeds. And our effort is demonstrated through two signature programs that we have, which is the Meals on Wheels program, as well as the Refugee Resettlement program that we offer in the Houston community. We also engage in interfaith dialogue, as well as the operation of the Volunteer Houston program that connects volunteers from our community with the various needs that our community has, whether it's disaster preparedness, whether it's volunteer opportunities at the various nonprofit organizations in our community, and so on and so forth. So it's a very robust mission. And I have been with the organization for about 10 months and 10 weeks and still learning a lot about what the organization does and all the incredible impact that we have in the community.
That's fantastic. And I can't think of a city that has a more diverse population than Houston. And a lot of people don't know this, and I've said this several times before, but Houston, more languages are spoken in Houston than even in New York City. It really is an incredibly diverse city. And the fact that you all offer these programs, everything from Meals on Wheels to refugee resettlement, really kind of, I think, reflects the wide range and diversity, of Houston. And you mentioned you were newer to the organization, Sheroo. So talk a little bit about how you got involved with this organization. What made you step into this role as CEO?
Sure. Thank you again for that question. I'm a social worker at heart. I began my journey as a social worker more than 35 years ago. I moved to the United States almost 30 plus years ago when I was very young, of course, to pursue my master's in social work. And ever since, I've been involved in the nonprofit sector. I've led several different organizations, not just here in Houston, but also in St. Louis, Missouri. Just before I came to IAM, I was leading an area nonprofit that focuses on workforce development. I did that for about 7 years. And last year, when I learned about the role at IAM, it truly felt like a personal calling for me. The mission is so closely aligned with my personal beliefs that when a community comes together, and as you mentioned, a community that is so diverse that we have people from every faith tradition, every ethnic background that you can imagine. And when that community comes together, as we do in Houston, I think the possibilities are endless. I cannot imagine a stronger and a more generous community that you can belong to. And it's just when I learned about the opportunity, read more about what the organization does, it just felt like a natural response to apply for the position. And I am absolutely thrilled and honored to be in this role and look forward to really and truly building on the foundation that this organization has created over the years, but also to continue with the transformational impact that we have in the Houston community.
That's such a cool journey from how you got here from, overseas into the United States and, you spent time in another, not even another city in Texas, another state, and settling in Houston. I think that's so reflective of so many people that live in Houston is a lot of people come from elsewhere, whether it's domestically or abroad. And, that's the perfect story. And I can totally see why you were tapped to lead this organization. And Maria, I'd love to hear your path to coming to I Am Houston.
Sure. So I have been at IAM almost 10 years. I know that's a long time in development years. And I've been in fundraising for over 25 years. I am a native Houstonian, which is unusual these days. But at the time I came to IM, I was attracted by the interfaith nature of the organization and also by the fact that we are the largest Meals on Wheels provider in the state of Texas. Formerly, I was with another Meals on Wheels provider. That work is very close to my heart. I was very close to my own grandparents. Now I'm caring for my own 87-year-old mother. So I understand the issues, especially social isolation that affect the elderly. And then on the faith side, I'm Christian by faith tradition, and it's always been a driving force in my life. I grew up in Alief, an incredibly diverse section of Houston. I grew up with friends on my block from all different countries who spoke different languages, who came from faith traditions. So I've always been very comfortable in diverse settings and very curious to learn about other religions.
Gosh, so well said. And what I appreciate is, and really well-run organizations have people with different backgrounds and perspectives. And Sheroo, you're not a native Houstonian. Maria, you are. And, the coming together of that, I think it's very reflective of what your organization's all about, but it's also reflective of what the Houston community is all about. And I think that's really just, it's fantastic on every level. And Sharu, I'd love, because you are newer, talk a little bit about, and we'll dive into kind of the gala specifically in a little bit, but I want to start with this, because for you, this is going to be your first time, this gala, your first time in front of many of the major donors that you all have. So talk about how the gala will help you very easily transition into the CEO role that you recently started.
Yes. And so, having been with several different organizations, I have been through this process before. And one of the easiest ways to really connect with our stakeholders, donors included, is through an event like the Tapestry Gala. In my last position with the workforce development organization that I was with, we had an event about a year after I had begun in my new role. And truly, that was my opportunity not only to learn about why these funders, donors support the organization, but also for us to showcase what the mission of the organization is and find that connection so that they can continue to feel strongly about making a contribution, making a difference. I also think it's a great opportunity for me to learn about the issues that are important to our stakeholders so that we can continue to build on that legacy that I talked about, but also refine our programs and be able to implement some of the address some of the challenges that we may have. So I think I'm looking forward to the event. Even before I started, I was able to attend the Wags and Whiskers event that I am hosted in February, and it was absolutely incredible. Thanks to Maria and her team and the wonderful committee of board members that we have that really invest a lot of their time, talent, and treasure in making these events very successful. So IAM has a rich history of hosting successful events, and I'm truly looking forward to what the Tapestry event is going to be.
That's fantastic. And Maria, I'd love your perspective, especially from the development perspective, of how, the Tapestry Gala really allows you to connect with major donors. But I'd also love for you to dive in a little bit and talk about, because Houston is such a diverse city and what you all promote are multiple, multiple faiths coming together. So you probably have a really fairly wide Rolodex or contact base, especially being a native Houstonian. Talk about how you navigate that to really help get a mix of people that's really reflective of what Houston's all about.
Sure. One comment I get a lot from donors who attend our gala is it is unusual in that our gala attracts guests from all different backgrounds and all different faith traditions. And sometimes it's very obvious what those faith traditions are. You can tell by the attire of the guest. For instance, many years we have Buddhist monks and their orange robes attend, or we have clergy with collars, and you can tell from the way that people are attired what their faith tradition is. That's not something you see at every gala in Houston. A lot of times you have certain groups of donors that will attend this organization's event or that organization's event. But at the Tapestry Gala, you see a really wide cross section of the city. So it's very representative of our diverse community. The reason the gala is named the Tapestry Gala is to celebrate that rich diversity of faith traditions. You know, in a tapestry, you have many individual threads that are woven together to form a beautiful whole. And so we're celebrating the uniqueness, the individuality of each faith tradition, but also that beautiful whole. One of our signature moments in the gala each year is the interfaith invocation. So every year we have a representative group of faith traditions give that invocation. We change it up a little from year to year, but that's become a high point of the event that our guests look forward to. We typically have about 600 to 700 people at the event, and we strive to make it a consistently high quality event, an elegant event. Our guests know what to expect when they come to Tapestry, but we always also try to throw in a few surprises each year.
That's fantastic. And, I want to dive a little bit deeper into that question. And really, it almost kind of ties into what you were just saying. And that is, it's been a really well-attended event for many years. And, any well-attended event has, a core group of supporters. So, what is the one thing a person or an organization can do to create a devoted following for an annual gala or a signature fundraising event?
I think consistency and quality are key. So to have the event at the same time of year each year, people know to save the date for it. To have your guest expect that they know the event will be high quality, the food will be good, the decor will be beautiful, the program will be compelling. I think Tapestry Gala has a reputation of being a high quality event, an elegant event, and that's what brings our guests coming back year after year. Like a lot of nonprofits, of course, we want our gala to attract new guests as well. And I think that's one of a challenge for all nonprofits, keeping your legacy donors coming back year after year, but also using that event to showcase your work in front of new donors.
Oh, that's fantastic. And, I want to direct the next question to Sheroo. And, with you being new, a great event, will almost always uniformly have a great committee behind it. So I'd love for you to explain, the importance of having a strong host committee to really execute what you want I Am Houston to be going forward and, while acknowledging, how far the organization has come over the years.
Yeah, I was also just going to add to what Maria said. Of course, every event is all about fundraising. We need those unrestricted dollars to be able to continue the good work that we're doing. But as Maria indicated, having a host committee that has the network and the connections in the community that can attract new people, that can bring the people from year after year. I think what would be really helpful with our host committee is if they continue to build on the mission of the organization. I think there are so many people that still don't know the extent of the impact that we create in Houston. And I'm very hopeful that with the event in November, we're able to expand on that. We're able to better inform our audience about the work that we do, about the needs that the organization has, the gaps that we have that could be easily filled with their generosity. And so my hope is that the host committee, will help us not only plan a fantastic, memorable event that will leave our guests with a very clear understanding of what our mission is, but also about what our growing needs are within the organization and, more importantly, within our communities.
And, I love that was so very well said, Sheroo. And Maria, I'd love for you to piggyback on what Sheroo said a little bit, but I'd love for you to talk about the host committee as someone who's been with the organization for a decade now, and how it helps you from a having that strong committee helps you from a development perspective, bring more awareness and more funds to I Am Houston.
Sure. And I just want to echo what Sheroo said, that the host committee is absolutely critical to the success of the event. I often tell the event chairs and committee members that my connections as a staff person are limited, but they have connections in spheres of business and social circles that we would like to tap into. And, a gala is an easy invite. You're inviting someone to be your guest at their table, to enjoy an evening of inspiration, of celebration. And so just tapping into those networks, inviting friends and associates to the event is very helpful. Another way host committees can help in keeping the event fresh and attractive is to share with us what they've seen at other galas. Many of our volunteers attend many events in the city, and we don't want to be copycats, but we do want to learn what works well and what doesn't work. And so we get a lot of feedback from our volunteers about things they've seen at other events that we can piggyback on.
Very well said. And, we've often talked about this here is a there is no such thing as an original event. It's basically you take 7,500 other ideas that you've seen from other events and you create your own special and unique thing, especially if you're putting your own twist on it. Because, what Maria was saying is, because they have a wide range of supporters, there's probably ideas from 7 or 8 different galas throughout Houston and maybe even beyond Houston that can kind of be pulled in, and you get to weave, as Sheroo and Maria both said earlier, this wonderful tapestry to create this really unique event. And Maria, I'd love for you, and I know Sheroo touched upon this, but I'd love for you to touch upon it too. How has the way you've engaged with donors for the event evolved over the last decade? Specifically, because COVID changed a lot of things. So I'd love your take as someone, who's been with the organization for a while, just share how that shifted over time.
Sure. Some of it has shifted, but some has stayed the same. I think in all donor relationships, and specifically event share and honoree relationships, trust is very important. So as a development professional, I strive to establish trust early. And I do that by being very open and transparent, sharing the successes, but also sharing the challenges, by communicating regularly so the committee knows the status of the event, and also by doing what I say I will do. So they come to rely on me and view me as a trusted partner. How that's changed during COVID, I would just say more Zoom meetings. I remember the days pre-pandemic when committee members would often host meetings in their homes, or we would go to restaurants. And there's a wonderful social aspect to doing that. But it can also be difficult to find dates at work for numerous people to meet in person. And so the virtual meetings that became so prevalent during COVID have definitely given us more options. We had our gala the year COVID started We were a few weeks away from our gala. The invitations had already been mailed. The venue was reserved, and we had to make a decision whether to cancel the gala or not. We chose to turn it into a virtual gala. I think we were one of the first in Houston to do that. In 3 weeks, we basically produced a television show that was the gala. We used our Meals on Wheels trucks to deliver meals to all of our guests, and we urged them to wear their chic pajama attire in the privacy of their own homes. And we met our fundraising goal. So I'm not sure I want to do that again, but we were able to pivot very quickly during that time.
Well, I love what that shows to me is that's brilliant on so many levels because one, you literally brought what the organization's about with Meals on Wheels to
Yeah.
everybody's door. So they, because and it's a question I wanted to ask, and Sheroo, I'd love for you to chime in on this piece. But really, when you're at an event, you want to be able to showcase the services of what you all offer and how it benefits the community. And that's really just that's one of the most brilliant ways. And hindsight's 2020, but that's one of the most brilliant ways I've heard of any organization doing that is utilizing the Meals on Wheels trucks to deliver, food and people can just be in their pajamas and all that type of stuff, which, I think that was, really, really great to hear. And Drew, I'd love for you to add, any additional things on top of anything Maria said just about how how have you seen organizations successfully place the services into a gala format without it feeling like you're beating them over the head too much, but just that you're showcasing them effectively?
Right. This is why I love that I'm a part of I Am now. It's the creative aspect that Maria and her team and our board and various committees bring to the table. From having attended many, many, many fundraising events and luncheons and galas, and then also being a part of the planning of these events, I think it's so important to engage the audience. I think to some extent we have event burnout, and especially in Houston, there are so many events happening as we speak. And so finding ways in which we can creatively engage and connect with our audience is so essential. Some of the things that we've done, not just at IM, but also with other organizations that I've been at, I think there are creative ways in which we can communicate our mission. Fireside chats are the infamous way in which people do that. But even through a fireside chat, when we bring our service recipients to the event and have them speak about their experience. One event that I've planned with another organization was a one act play that actually demonstrated the client journey, and we were able to showcase what a client experiences from the time that they learn about the organization until the time that they successfully complete the program, and then the next steps after that in terms of self sufficiency and becoming a productive citizen in our community. So there are different ways in which you can deliver that message. And I think again, having a host committee that is open to those ideas, that contributes their own, ideas and suggestions and resources in making that a reality is so critical.
Okay, everyone needs to do a one act play now to describe their services.
Well, it
I need a
was
video.
hugely successful. And in fact, a lot of our donors thought that we provide drama training as part of our mission. And so we had to let them know that no, that was just something that our staff decided to put together with the help of some of our host committee members.
But that is so cool that you found such an innovative and unique way to do it because, organizations are always looking for ways to innovate. And that really also showcases, if I were to describe events in Houston in one word, fun would be kind of the first word I would bring to any event in Houston. That is a great element of how that is because, that just when you see things like that, it really just does go and it raises the energy in the room in just a really, really cool way. And, I want to turn the next question to Maria and then Sheroo, I'd love for you to chime in afterwards. So this year, the Tapestry Gala is honoring an individual. And given how diverse the organization is and how diverse your audience is, What is the process for the organization and the event committee to select the honoree, comma, and get them to say yes? Because a lot of people who ask to be honored decline. So, talk a little bit about how a committee that diverse comes upon and agrees upon an honoree, and then how you get that person to say yes on top of it.
Sure. So we have a development committee that's a subcommittee of our board, and they typically come up with a short list of possible candidates for the Tapestry honoree. And we typically choose to honor a person that's been involved with the organization for a long time and has given significantly. That can be through philanthropy, that can be through volunteerism, or a combination of both. Because we're such a diverse organization, we do pay close attention to who we honor year after year. We want to make sure that we're choosing people from different faith traditions, from different backgrounds, when we make that decision. Typically, the development committee chair will first have a sort of casual conversation with the person to feel them out, to see if there's a good possibility of saying yes. And then there is typically a more formal approach with the CEO. I might be present, the board chair or the development committee chair. We take them to lunch and then formally ask them. I can't say we have 100% success rate of getting them to say yes. Sometimes they do decline, or sometimes a person will say yes and change their mind, but we have a pretty good track record. I think if you choose someone who loves the organization, that's close to the organization, and that knows the parties involved, whether that be staff or board, you have a better chance of them agreeing.
Well, and I appreciate your honesty and candor with that. And the thing is that some people do choose to give either anonymously or very covertly, even if they've given a lot, and they may just not want to go on stage or be recognized. And, that's just kind of part of it. You may want to, but you both have to want to do it. And that's kind of what makes it really effective. And Sheroo, would you be able to share some details about who the organization is honoring this year?
I'm actually going to let Maria talk about that. It is one of our amazing supporters, and I've had the honor of meeting her a couple of times, but I know Maria knows her uh, for many years, and so I think she would be able to shed more light on that.
Maria, go for it.
Sure. So our honoree this year is Charlene Schwan. So Charlene is a past board chair, and she's been involved with our work for close to 10 years. She has been very involved in the interfaith aspect of our work. Charlene is a Buddhist. She's retired from a long career with BP. And she's involved in a lot of community initiatives, not just with I Am Houston. She served on the board of the Chinese Community Center, and she's very passionate about our work. I've seen Charlene deliver Meals on Wheels. I've seen her mentor refugee families. I've seen her engage in dialogue with our interfaith groups and also volunteer with a number of agencies. She's just a wonderful example of dialogue, collaboration, and service, an individual who's been involved with us for so long and has given so much to the community.
That's really cool. And I love that she's been involved in multiple buckets of the services that
Mhm,
you offer. That shows that
mhm,
Charlene really has a full, firm grasp and understanding of really
mhm.
everything that the organization does and is about. And I like to direct the next question to you as well. And then Sheroo, I'm going to ask you that question, but with a twist. And talk about some things that guests can expect to experience, Maria, at this year's Tapestry Gala.
Well, I don't want to give away all our secrets, but I will tell you that guests can expect an inspiring evening that highlights our mission and work. They can expect an elegant evening. They can expect an evening that highlights the strength of shared beliefs through our multi-faith prayer, dinner, entertainment. I think that's as far as I'm going to go right now.
That's good. Leave a tease. That's why we always say tease things. We never say give us the whole program because you gotta leave the audience wanting. So,
Of course.
and Sharu, my twist to you is, what are you looking forward to as for your first Tapestry Gala as CEO?
Of course, like you said, Rob, looking forward to connecting with donors and stakeholders that I haven't already had an opportunity to meet. But I also think by November, I will have completed at least 6 months in my role. And I hope that through the remarks that I make, I'm able to share with our donor community, with our supporters, the progress that the organization is making despite the uncertainties and despite the challenges that we are facing right now. And so we are putting a lot of things in place, even with all of the curveballs that are that are being thrown at us almost on a daily basis, like every nonprofit. But I'm very hopeful that we will have a plan in place to be able to move forward with strength and again with the same commitment to the people that need our services. And I am excited to share that with our community.
That's really exciting, and I'm so excited for you that you get to roll that out, to a really a large room that really reflects the tapestry, because we're just going to go there with that word, the tapestry of the Houston community. And I know we're coming up on time, but I want to end with this one question. And Maria, I'd like for you to go first, and Sheroo, I'd love for you to have the last word. And that is, what is one thing all successful galas have in common?
I think one thing all successful galas have in common is that they are parties with a purpose. That we want the event to be fun, we want it to be celebratory, but we also always want to shine that light on our mission and remember why we're there.
Very well said. And Sheroo, you've got the last word.
That people want to come back year after year, and it's not just the purpose, but also the fact that they believe and support the mission of the organization, and that makes them want to come back every year to support the event.
I love how effectively those two, because those two things that each of you said are very, 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 very interlinked with one another. If you've got the purpose and you do the purpose effectively, they're going to want to come back year after year, and you get that devoted following. And this was so much fun to chat with the two of you over the last half hour. So Maria, Sheroo, thank you so much for joining us today. This was an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, Rob. We really appreciate it, and we're looking forward to hosting a fantastic event and having lots of new people attending our event.
Fantastic. And the Tapestry Gala benefiting I Am Houston will be held on November 1st, 2025 at Hilton's America Houston in Houston, Texas. For more information, please visit imgh.org. And that will do it for this episode of Fun and Fundraising. I'm your host, Rob Giardinelli, reminding you to keep it fun, keep it interesting, and your guests will have a great time. Have a great day, everyone, and take care.